Hi, everybody. This is Kat Clemons with Bay Area Turning Point. I am the development director, and today I am joined by two amazing community partners, Kelli Reddinger and Wenner. Hi, ladies.
Hi, Kat.
Thanks so much for joining me today. I wanted to have a chat with you guys because we wanted to talk with community partners during Sexual Assault Awareness Month, but also to bring awareness to other folks who might be interested in partnering with Bay Area Turning Point. So what does being a community partner mean to you? And Kelli, I'll start with you.
That's a tricky one because the word community partner, it's evolved so much since there was volunteering and there was getting involved or giving back. It seems like there's always new terminology since, listen, I was born in the 70s, so I'm kind of, vintage around here now. But again, I've seen different, yes, I know. So I've seen different cycles of different things. So when I hear the word community partner here, what it really means is that there's a couple of different levels of where you can kind of get involved. Are you a small business? Are you another organization within a bubble of a community or a series of zip codes? Are you another, just a person that has been touched by something? There's a lot of different levels that you can enter into getting involved with something and being determined a community partner. Do you live in the area and do you care is pretty much what it comes down to.
So what made you get involved with Bay Area Turning Point?
Well, I moved to the area, I think we're going on 8 years ago. I moved to the area, lived in a bunch of different places, done a bunch of different things. But I landed here and my daughter was 2.5. So of course I get into the whole mommy bubble. And one of the things you got to do when you're a mommy is you got to shop, right? You got to buy things in your area. And I met this chick and her name was Darcy Santala. And she is the reason I got involved with Bay Area Turning Point, because at the time she owned Hot Mommies and Bella Babies in town. And one of the things that they did on a regular basis there was with every event or every season or every time that there was a call for help, whether it was formula or diapers or something that was needed in the mommy kind of scope at Bay Area Turning Point, she would do a shout out to all of the people that followed her. Well, I kind of liked that. And I was like, oh yeah, I can donate diapers, formula, what's the big deal? So she kind of got me sucked in. And then it was 2016. I was getting ready to turn 45. And it was, I think, for a Christmas event that she was doing. She put a call out that, for Bay Area Turning Point, they needed diapers and formula. And I just happened to click on the Bay Area Turning Point website. And I never really had investigated everything that you did. I was just like, oh, this chick I like, she says I need to donate to this. I can buy diapers, click an Amazon button. I know. So, but that's when I clicked on the website. And that's where it's important that you kind of go and look around at things. And there was something that jumped out at me on the website at the time was that to house in 2016, to house a woman and up to 2 children that for one night at Bay Area Turning Point, to get them into a safe place for a night was $45. That a $45 donation could make all the difference. Well, it was January and in March I was going to turn 45 and it's $45. It only seemed normal that the girl that never has good birthdays, that I always try and do something nice. So I thought, well, I'm going to make my 45th birthday about giving $45 or 45 items to the resale shop to help them earn things. It's all going to be, we got 45 days to do this. So that's what it all turned into. But, one year it was about raising money. And the next year it was 2017 was the big year that I really started to get involved, because that's when I went to your Dogs and Divas fashion show. We put together 3 tables of women. We bought a whole section. Smartly, they put us in the back of the room, though. You put baby in the corner, I'm telling you, because we were loud and we were fun. But we had gone there too. That was the year that Sean and Susan Bailey from Amico Bank donated themselves to be part of the live auction. So yeah, we were rapidly trying to bid to win them to throw a party for us. That was the year that I brought some liquid courage with me to sneak into the back room so I could go back and see you and Chris and the sweet Chris Reed before you guys walked on stage. But I was there with the likes of Hillary Graham from higher up Texas. I was there with Michelle Señeros, who used to own Paradise Tropical Wines, and Courtney Sapp, and I mean, Karen Nelson, all of these great women who do so much in the community. And then I sat with the sweet Autumn that is there next to us today. That's how I started to get to know her. And it really just opened up the doors that not only through Bay Area Turning Point, but through some of these other organizations that we're all invested in, some things that just need a little kindness, that we were all able to connect and be able to learn more and help more in a community. And that is how I became a community partner.
That's awesome. So Autumn, same question for you. You do not have to name drop, but
I think I did it all for everybody. I think I covered it.
So Autumn, same question. So what does being a community partner mean for you, and how did you get involved with Bay Area Turning Point?
Sure. Well, so one thing, I'm going to name drop Kelly because she failed to mention that she created this fabulous group of nonprofit folks in our community and has invited folks from everywhere. Like, it doesn't matter if you own a business, you work for a corporation, you're a stay-at-home mom, whatever, a full-time student, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a heart to serve others, you're welcome in her More Than Just Society group. And that group has propelled so many people and allowed so much more opportunity for our local nonprofits, including Bay Area Turning Point. So Kelly, we are grateful. For me personally, having grown up in this area, I'm raising 3 kids in this area. I feel like I have a pretty good pulse on the community. For me, a community partnership means, really investing your time or your talent or maybe your resources where you live, and finding something that pulls on your heartstrings, something that's kind of a tug in your gut, something that you could be passionate about. That is where you invest and become partnership with somebody or some resources in your community. So, I feel like it doesn't matter, if you don't have the funds to donate to a cause, then maybe you have time to volunteer, or, share a talent that you have. So anybody and everybody has something to offer their community. So
time, talent, and treasure, right?
Yes,
so either one of those.
I love that. Because I don't believe in coincidences, and I didn't even tell my mother that I was doing something like this. But she happened to just send me this little meme. She texted me a meme, and it was a word, and I think it's pronounced huga, if I'm right. It's a Danish word. I don't know.
Sure.
But it's in regards to community. And so I'm going to read it because I don't have it memorized, but it says, Huga is the art of building sanctuary and community, inviting closeness, and paying attention to what makes us feel open-hearted and alive, to create well-being, connection, and warmth for others, a feeling of belonging to the moment and to each other, and learning to celebrate the everyday. So that gives me chills when I said that, because I think that totally just nails it. So, I'm really excited to be a part of Bay Area Turning Point's community, and, was offered the opportunity to be a part of Friends of Bay Area Turning Point, and have been able to sit on the committee of Dogs and Diva for the past few years. So, it really was a privilege, and I just look forward to continuing that partnership with you guys. So thank you.
Of course, thank you.
So why Bay Area Turning Point? Well, it's been around for a long time, and I've known about it for a long time. but it's not ever something that was really in the forefront of my mind. But like Kelly mentioned, in 2017, I believe was the first year for Dogs and Divas. And I was invited to attend that event. And let me tell you, for a gal who is like hardcore into animal rescue and dog rescue and the volunteering of helping pets, I was promised a fashion show. I was promised a ballroom lunch. I was promised alcohol, and I was promised to see a bunch of cute dogs that I could pet and even adopt. So
puppies.
All in. And it was an incredible event, and I was so glad I got to be a part of that. But that was kind of like the trigger that sort of moved Bay Area Turning Point back to the front of my brain. And I started thinking more and more about it. And again, I don't believe in coincidences. So that fall, I joined a women's Bible study, and one of the gals who was a leader actually coordinated with Bay Area Turning Point. I believe they sat on the board maybe for that period of time. And we did some volunteer work with Bay Area and did collections and stuff like that year. And then when the spring rolled around, she mentioned to me that they were in need of people to help with the fashion show. And I was like, oh, me, I'll do it. And, really the rest of that is just history. And so, I was really grateful for that. But with that comes, there's multi reasons why people feel, I think, compelled, or they feel a passion and purpose about pursuing different organizations and giving back. And, for me, just over the past few years, I've been able to openly talk about the fact that I was a victim of rape and as a teenager. And that was really hard for me to walk through by myself. But the hardest thing was that I spent literally probably, I want to say 12 to 14 years, I never talked about it at all. And when I was 28 years old, I remember hearing a commercial on the radio. Again, coincidences, no. And it was a commercial about date rape. And I'm not saying that that's what happened to me, but it resonated, and I understood it, and now I could name it. And at the time I was married, and we had 2 children. I still couldn't talk about it, and I went into a really dark place for a while, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. I don't even know. But I was not in good shape, but I still couldn't say a word. And then it wasn't until, for folks that have been around in the area a while, 2008 was Hurricane Ike. And that was a pretty traumatic event, for a lot of different reasons. But there was something about that just became this trigger for me. And I just sort of fell apart. But mind you, like, my marriage was suffering some. And I wasn't really present with my children. Like, my mind was just not where it needed to be. I was just really, really in not a great place. And after that hurricane and the cleanup and all of that, I kind of just, had that release. And then I ended up telling my husband what happened, and I ended up telling my mom finally what happened. And, you kind of have to hit rock bottom, I think, before you're willing to start to heal and figure things out. So, looking back, I know that so many of my experiences as a teenager after that event, and subsequently what happened after the event, were results of me being broken. And not being able to make good choices, and falling into underage drinking and drug use, and abusive relationships, all of that. And I was even thinking earlier, just while, I was getting ready to do this, even if a nice guy, right, wanted to maybe take a friendship more seriously, I just couldn't do it. I don't think I loved myself enough or respected myself enough to allow somebody to be genuinely kind to me. And so obviously, I had a lot to sift through and a lot of healing that needed to be done. So, it's a work in progress. So I'm sorry that was like really long. I told you, it's kind of thick. There was lots of layers there.
And Kelli was worried of going over.
Yeah.
But I will tell you though, when I first kind of started to process all of that, I was probably about 32, and it dawned on me sitting at a church function one day that, if I could do something to help young girls, middle school girls, high school girls, to empower them, to give them, the confidence to share and remind them how worthy they are. And even if they made a mistake or, made a bad choice, for me, it was lying to my mom, like totally lying to my mom about, something I was going to go and do one weekend that created this hell for me, so I live with a lot of shame and regret. But if I had the opportunity to help somebody walk through that and heal and not wait 20 years or whatever, that would help them, maybe get through life and start fresh and move forward a lot quicker.
Well, I certainly appreciate you being so honest, especially in such a public forum. But, obviously I would be remiss not to say that our services at Bay Area Turning Point are still open to you. There is no statute of limitations, not when it comes to being even a third party, sort of like not direct victim of domestic or sexual violence, because sometimes it's the children who suffer also with fear and PTSD and things like that. And so all of our services are still available to you, still free of charge. So if anybody out there is listening, that if you have a similar story, you're also in a dark place, that if you call our hotline 24 hours a day, 281-286-2525, you can have see counseling services. We have all of those services available to you as well. So one of the reasons that we're having this conversation is because April is a big month with Bay Area Turning Point, April and October, right? So for April, we have Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And the theme this month, I'm going to have to read this because it's a little bit long. The theme is "We can build safe online spaces because sexual harassment, assault, and abuse can happen anywhere, including online." So as moms, I would love to hear about what that means to you and how you would like to see the community as a whole be involved with programs like ours. And either one of you can speak on this. Was that heavy?
Yeah, no, I'll start. Dude, it is heavy. I mean, it is a lot for moms. And I know that Autumn and I are in the same boat, because we have a girl she's in 5th grade, right, Autumn?
Mm-hmm.
We both have 5th grade girls, and I'm sorry, 5th grade girls are a nightmare. They're a nightmare. They're a nightmare. I love mine, but wow. And there's so much going on in the world today that I didn't have to experience as a 5th grade girl. And it was hard back then. So I can only imagine the pressures that they feel now, whether it's body image or whether it's mean girl stuff, or, you got pimples on your face and your body is changing. I mean, it's just a roller coaster of craziness. But it is like one of those beautiful roller coasters. And she's going to have, girls are going to have ups and downs, and all of our kids are. And I think that it's important, and to touch back on a little bit of something that Autumn kind of alluded to, and all the way back to what I said about how I got involved, was that sometimes you just have to look at the numbers. sometimes just looking at those numbers and seeing how that relates to you could change everything. Because I don't have a similar story to Autumn, but what I do have in common is it's 1 in 5 girls, I think, that will experience sexual assault or date rape in high school. 1 in 5. So when you say 1 in 5 to me, and I sit back and I think about all those people that I named, that got me involved in this, or mommies that are in the PTA with me, or dads that I see at basketball practice, which one of those 5 girls that I'm looking at, which one of the 5 is, and an even scarier number to me, it's 1 in 33 boys is going to, 1 in 33 men, boys, is going to experience sexual assault in their life as well. So it's not just limited to girls. So which one of those boys in my daughter's 5th grade class, who's that going to be? And it's kind of hard to stomach that when you think about it in that capacity. So I encourage everybody, no matter what their experience is in life, and if you have an event in your life that has kind of shaped you, that's pretty dark and has taken you to the point, whether you still need help, or whether you've come out on the other side, or you've had nothing happen to you. I think taking the time to actually just looking at those numbers, going to the Bay Area Turning Point website and actually seeing some of those stats about what those numbers, the numbers of people that you service here in the area, when you look at the numbers of people that they take care of on a daily basis, or how many they've helped this year, when you imagine that those are real people and this is really happening right here, that it's just mind-boggling. So yeah, cyber stuff blows my mind sometimes, but I can unplug an iPad real quickly, but I can't unplug what is happening behind closed doors right in my own neighborhood sometimes. So I think that I think is the scariest thing that we all need to take a look at in April and figure out how we can help to change some of those numbers.
Autumn. So are you guys like locking down the iPads? Or are you guys like, no way? None of that social media stuff.
Yeah. Well, so for me, my kids, I have 3 children, 10, my girl is 10, she's the youngest, and then I have a 17 and 24-year-old boy. So having now raised 2 teenagers, I've learned a lot. And, I really believe that where the smartphones are, they're here to stay, the tablets, the iPads, all of that, it's game on. And the parental controls, the security apps, all that stuff is super important, yes. But, having been through this twice now, kids, man, you can't, they're hard to keep up with, right? They can find a way to disable apps, they find a way to get around, and if they don't know how to, you can bet their friend does. So, something you may have locked down on your device for your child, Johnny Joe sitting on the bus next to him doesn't, and he's, sharing information that you probably didn't want your kid to see. So, for us as a family, what we've kind of learned over the years, and definitely the hard way, I would say, is, really opening those lines of communication with your kids and having those conversations ongoing. It's not just like sit down and here's the rules for having a device, but it's constantly, and not even, yes, I mean, definitely you want to check your kids' stuff and see what's going on for sure, but just reminding them always, like, if something doesn't look right, or you feel like somebody hurt your feelings, or you see something that seems unsafe, like, always, let's show us, let's talk about it, let's figure out what you can do to be proactive, to stand up for yourself if you feel like, my daughter she doesn't have social media, but she texts, and for instance, one of these little girls kept calling her dummy. And, my daughter is not dumb, but, again, this is just fifth grade behavior. They do a lot of name calling, right? So, but so instead of shaming that, but instead of shaming that girl or telling my daughter, disconnect from her, block her number or whatever, it's kind of like, well, what can you do? Like, let's work through this. And if it doesn't feel safe or, it doesn't make you feel good, then we need to then address it a different way. But I just really believe like giving the kids those blocks to build upon will help them make better choices down the road. And again, I mean, I'm just gonna be really honest, we've learned a lot of this the hard way. So, it's just my personal experience. But, for things like, honestly, the sexting, the sending nude pictures, the sexual propositions that happen on social media that your kids, our kids can be exposed to is prevalent. And it sometimes doesn't appear maybe that it seems very vanilla, but what they hear at school or on the bus or at different events, group, where they have parties, and when they used to have parties, or they still do, I don't know, pre-COVID, there's just so much emphasis on sexuality and activity that kids need to really understand what those boundaries look like for themselves, and like my body, my rules, and what is safe, and what doesn't feel good, and how you go about that if you get yourself in a position. And for parents who've never experienced anything like that, they may be just completely, it doesn't even seem like an important topic, or maybe not even necessary, because hey, my kid's in fifth grade, I mean, they're not doing that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, you'd be surprised. And even if not younger. So I just feel like opening those lines of communication is super important, and having that constant check-in with them and make sure that they are doing okay. But as far as like programs like Bay Area Turning Point, what a beautiful asset this organization is to our community, because not only do they help battered women and families get out of abusive relationships, but they do advocate for those sexual assault victims, and they do offer those services to help them get, healing and the therapy that they need to be able to move forward in their life. But, one thing I just personally would love to see maybe on some of the school campuses here in our area is somebody from the organization like meeting, right? Actually going into the schools and talking about safe dating, or what that looks like, or even what domestic violence looks like. I mean, some kids grow up in a home that's abusive and they don't even know it because they don't know anything different, right? So that's an area for the organization to get into the schools and talk to the kids and remind them, hey, this is what healthy looks like, and this is kind of what unhealthy looks like, and we would love to support and educate the youth in our community and help empower them to make better choices or open more opportunity for them going forward. So I think that's all I have.
That's awesome. Thank you. We need you at a school board meeting to advocate for that, because we'd love to be in the schools. Actually, we do have our awesome outreach, Melissa Prentice. She's amazing. She does trainings where she can talk to kids, and she can also talk to business. She does that if it's about domestic violence or sexual assault. She can train on it. She's amazing, but she does do good work. She does do good work in Chambers County with the junior high there, the middle school, intermediate.
Oh my gosh, that would
whatever it's called now. Well, this year is a big year. Kelli, you mentioned it. It's our 30th anniversary. So we're not going to have Dogs and Divas this year, but I do hope that you guys will join us. We will have an in-person gala at South Shore Harbor on October the 9th. It will be an evening. It will be, black tie optional, but come on, let's do it. It's been a long year. It's been a long year. I mean, just glam up, just glam up. So I hope you guys will join us. And thank you both for being with me today and talking about. I know it wasn't easy, and thank you, Autumn. I appreciate your vulnerability and your honesty. And Kelli, I so appreciate all that you do for everybody in the community, not just Bay Area Turning Point, but so many. Both of you do such good work in the community. So I really do appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, Kat.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for watching, and stay tuned the rest of the month. We're going to have lots of great interviews and different things happening. So make sure, if you're not already on our social media, to go and check out our calendar for the month, because we have lots of cool things coming up. So thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye, Kat.